does make me laugh. Good afternoon and welcome to Pinhole Quilting. I'm only laughing because Pete said something funny just before he went live. And he's always had that ability to make me laugh, which is an enduring trait, So that's lucky, isn't it? We're very lucky to have each other, aren't we, Pete?
Absolutely. There we are. I have to get you with a smile on your face before you go live. Always looks better on camera.
It does. Yeah, we've had a few things going on this morning, and I'm just kind of in that right. Facebook Live. Okay, what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about Moxie XL and ProStitcher Lite. So yesterday I was down in London, well, near Croydon, South London, and I shouldn't do that, should I? No, sorry. Everybody from South London, so sorry. Yes. Anyway, I was down there, and we installed a pre-loved machine, which was it was really fun actually. I did a training with there was 3 people there most of the time, 4 people from time to time, and it was for a business that makes costumes for the film industry. How cool is that? So
that's very cool.
It was really good, actually. I have to say, it was really good. And they're really lovely people and huge amount of knowledge of sewing machines and stitching, but not quilting. But they are planning on using the long arm for doing things like sleeves, quilted sleeves, actually doing like the sleeve itself, outline, and then the quilting part of it. So that was really cool. And they've done some big, like we're talking mega films. Things like in the past they've done Gladiator. I mean, that won an Oscar for its costumes. Amazing. So that was really fun. It was a really fun day. It's nice to do something that's not just straight quilting, because it makes you think slightly differently about how they might use it as well, which is one of the things that I really enjoy doing, because it's a bit of a, oh, now how could they do that? And we use some I'm going to post a photo. We use some really thick foam. So this is to create texture for some of the costumes. They do quite a lot of sci-fi.
It's probably nearly a centimetre thick, that foam that you were using.
It's got to be.
Yes.
It's got to be.
But we've tried stitching on that type of material before, and it works fine. Yeah,
so you put a layer of fabric on the top. They've actually got it on a little foot frame. They've got their setup on a little foot frame with with ProStitcher. And so the foam has got like a seal, top and bottom, and then you can put fabric top and bottom. We just did it, so it's fabric at the top and then this centimetre seal foam stuff. So that was interesting. Do we want to say hello to anybody if we've got...
Yeah, Graham was first online today.
Oh, Graham, you sent the most beautiful Christmas card we had this year.
Yeah, amazing.
It was fantastic. Really beautiful. Done on the embroidery machine. Yeah.
Then we have a certain Michelle who says, hello, feet up watching my favourite live stream.
One day, Michelle, that'll be me. But not yet. Oh, gosh. Michelle, yeah, it was great. We went out for a Christmas lunch, didn't we, this week? We finally got to
mid-January, always a good time to have Christmas lunch with your staff.
What are we like? We were just really busy before Christmas.
And
anyway, it was really nice to see Michelle and Katie and Pauline and Mark, me and Pete.
And Linda says, Happy New Year.
Yes, Happy New Year, Linda. Happy birthday for yesterday. I missed it because I was out on the road all day.
Oh, happy birthday, Linda.
Yeah. I just saw that this afternoon.
She says it took 10 minutes for Facebook to tell her that we were up and running.
No, we were late.
We were possibly nearly 10 minutes late today, Linda.
We were late.
But I'm happy to blame Facebook for anything,
Facebook.
really. Yes.
That nasty Facebook. Yeah, no, it's very good, Facebook. It's very useful for us. It connects us with people. So.
And Carol Watson, hello from sunny but cold County Durham.
Yeah, isn't it cold? It is so cold today. Pete, how cold was it in Pershore? Had the lowest temperature in England.
Did it?
This week, according to Mark.
Oh, okay.
Was it Tuesday evening?
It was, yes.
7.25.
Well, it was the car this morning said -7, so it was fairly close again.
We've picked, we live in a house, don't we? We live in a village that is one of the coldest places.
We do live in a house.
Oh yeah, we live in a house. We don't live in a little cardboard box.
We've moved on from the caravan.
Yes. Okay. So it's really cold this morning. Oh, it's honestly, our village is so cold, isn't it?
It is.
It is really cold. So anyway, it's -7. That's going some, isn't it? Anyway,
So-
what else could you be doing except making quilts?
Yes. So hello from the Stumpy Quilter.
From the Stumpy Quilter. And honestly, Jackie, your quilt, that Helen made, absolutely beautiful. I did a post on it, Pete. Oh, it's really, I mean, it's beautiful. And I had no idea. I mean, it is really good to talk about those things. So well done, Jackie, for bringing it up as a subject to discuss and on your page. And I've shared it on ours because I think it's really important, and support that you get from others that have been in similar situations is very important. So well done. Well done. You'll have a look at that later, Pete. Pete's just been flat out, haven't you?
Yes. And hello from Sarah Wickett. Hi, Sarah. I will call you after Facebook Live about Nigel.
Yes. Nigel is Sarah's machine. Nigel's over there. So, yes, we've all had a go on Nigel. The nicest possible way. Actually, may I have some? Oh, you got me water. Me water? Honestly, I don't know. I've been travelling around the country and picking up different ways of speaking.
And hello from Georgie in East Grinstead.
Georgie, lovely Georgie. You put away your Christmas decorations. Thank you for those. They're beautiful.
Linda says it was -11 in the Lake District. That is cold.
Oh, that is cold. That's colder than Pershore.
And Yvonne Rowlands, who I was speaking to this morning, who says, Happy Quilting New Year to everyone.
Yes, a very happy Quilting New Year to everybody who's watching this, all our customers, our handy quilter owners, and anybody else who happens to be in on it. Happy New Year. Let's hope 2025 is a good one and that we make loads of quilts to keep ourselves warm. There you go.
Sarah says she hopes that Nigel wants to come home. I think he does, Sarah, because it's warmer in Cornwall than it is here in Worcestershire.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, Nigel is hankering for being back home with you and doing what he should be doing. Great. Okay, so I was talking about this place, this business that I visited yesterday, and we're looking forward to seeing what they come up with. So I was stitching using upholstery fabric on top of this like centimetre foam, and in that case there are a few things to do on setup that we can do to tweak it. So we went through those. And they're pretty excited. They're pretty excited about it. So it'd be really interesting to see how they use it. Wouldn't it be cool? Wouldn't it be cool if we could just say, that was the costume that we made on the handy quilter? I'd love that. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do some of the things like I was saying about how sort of slightly not normal quilting makes you think outside the box. It makes you think of all the ways that you could do things that are a little bit different. And one of the things that they wanted to do was quite geometric stuff that would involve things like stitching hexagons. So they're new to the program. So you can imagine they're on a very steep learning curve. There was a little bit of stress insofar as, you've got a new machine, you've got a new program, there's possibly digitising involved at some point, and pattern making. I mean, there's just so many things, and they're going to have a very tight deadline, because apparently that's what they do in the film industry. So, you always work into deadlines, right? So that makes it a little bit stressful for everybody. So we went through a few ways that you could actually kind of design things on here, which would enable you to then manipulate stuff. Now, normally, I would probably do this on ProStitcher Premium, because Premium is, I was just speaking with one of our customers who's thinking about getting ProStitcher Lite, and for edge to edge, absolutely brilliant. ProStitcher Lite, fantastic, out the box, great. When you want to tweak a few things, Premium has got a few more features like record. You can kind of edit things a little bit more easily. It comes with ProStitcher Designer, which Lite doesn't. So you have to buy ProStitcher Designer separately if you want to get into digitising. And if you don't know what digitising is, maybe that's for another day, but you can kind of create your own designs. You can convert things like embroidery files, and you can stitch them out on your ProStitcher onto your handy quilter. So first of all, I'm just going to do I'm going to do some stitching. So I've got a bobbin in my bobbin case. I'll just do a quick check of the bobbin tension. I'm pretty happy with that. That floated down nice and easy. I haven't oiled it, but I think we oiled it fairly recently, didn't we? Maybe. You'd oil it.
No idea.
We've got no idea, have we? So you'd oil it. And I've filled it up with Glide. Pink on the top, gold on the bottom. Not a common combination that I normally use, but anyway, we'll be able to see what's going on. And I would do a tension test, and then we'll do the creating using ProStitcher Lite. So one of the things I showed people yesterday was that you can go down the needle.
Yeah, let's just go through that. In fact, can we turn the lighting down on the screen first, because it does distort?
Yeah. So we can adjust the brightness on this. Because it
looks better on camera then.
Yeah. Go back to the main home screen, okay, where we've got our stitch regulation. So here we've got it threaded up. I've checked that it's in my tension disc. I've only just threaded it, and I just checked my tension before I did anything else. Pretty happy with that. On the Moxie XL, you've got like a little magnet here. Very handy. I love that magnet for storing my scissors. Now, these aren't the sharpest scissors on the block. Look at that. There we go. That's a better cut. Get a nice sharp pair of scissors and make a nice clean cut. And then on your glide thread, what you can do is there is a groove that runs down the front of the needle. You can run the end of your thread down that groove, and magically, without getting close, getting your glasses on, getting your magnifier, it'll actually just pop into the needle eye.
It's a very good technique actually for threading the needle.
I can't remember where that came from. Might have been one of those handy quilter educators that came over in the past, like Nancy Christopherson, the lovely person who came over and taught us so much in the early days. I'm going to just do a little test stitch. So to do a test stitch holding the top thread in my left hand, I'm going to control my handlebars with my right hand, and I'm just going to do needle down, needle up, which is on the handlebars, and just bring that bobbin thread up. I'm going to hold those two threads loosely but firmly, and just do a couple of stitches just to hold it. Looking at my control on the touch screen here, we've got 3 letters on the left, M, P and C. So M for manual, where we set how many stitches per minute we want the machine to stitch at. So we can adjust this. We've got 2 presets, and we can also select on here, by the way, needle up, needle down. We can set precision, which is stitches per inch, goes all the way down to 4, all the way up to 18, and on this it will basically stitch just when you're moving the machine. It won't stitch even when the machine is stationary, as opposed to cruise or continuous mode, where it does stitch even when you pause. It will stitch at whatever's in that white box, but when it moves, it does the 10 stitches per inch. I'm going to put it on precision just for now. Let's just see what it does, and that looks pretty good. That's excellent. Okay, there we go. Nothing more to be said. So the tension is perfect. That's lucky, isn't it? So there's no adjustment. But if there was, and if we could see the top thread on the underside, it means the top thread is too loose. We'd need to tighten the top thread. Okay. If we saw the bobbin thread, it would be being pulled up by the top thread, and we would reduce the tension on the top. Because we set the bobbin tension first, all we need to do is do left to loosen or right to tighten with the top thread. Makes it a lot simpler. There you go, that's tension in a nutshell. For ProStitcher, I'm actually going to put it on cruise or continuous mode. Let me just show you. So when we pause, it just stows a few stitches because it's on 150. The gears are on, so it's feeling a little heavy. Okay, that's it. And I'm going to leave it at needle up when we stop, which is what we would do for ProStitcher if we were doing other things, we might leave it so that needle stays in the down position so it doesn't start wandering off, particularly if your frame isn't level. It's always worth having your frame level if you can. Sometimes you need to adjust the feet so that it doesn't start drifting. Right, let's talk about Mark. Mark is our operations manager. No, we're going to talk about Mark on ProStitcher Lite. So I've got a grid here, which is great for doing designs. So we could create designs using this grid, or you could have a drawing and use the drawing to create a design. If you were in record mode, which is where you move the machine, having pressed record, it will actually capture your movements and then you can stitch them or edit them as you wish. So this is a very useful feature of ProStitcher. So in here, in the ProStitcher tab under record, we've got the mark option, okay, and we've got our gears on. So mark enables us to record straight lines. So every time we press the mark button, it will make a dot on the screen. So if I press the home key and press mark, you'll see it comes up with a red and a green circle. It's a bit small for Facebook. And then I'm going to move it so it goes up here to this intersection up here. And I'm going to press mark again. And then I'm going to come across. And I'm going to press mark again. And then I'm going to come down here and I'm going to press mark again. Now you could also have a grid on the screen and snap to grid. That would make it even more accurate. Press mark again. And I think that's it. That's all I need to do. So we will now file, I'm going to save that design. And I'm going to call it My ProStitcher Patterns. I'm going to create a new folder. And I'm going to call that Demo. Create. And I'm going to call that Hex. Because that is, it's half a hex.
It's half a hex.
Yeah.
Sort of.
So only sort of. I suppose it would be, I needed to go down to there, didn't I? Well, it's a design. It's a design.
Well, it will be a hexagon because it will be six-sided.
When I flip it and repeat it.
Yes.
So, yeah, so if I move it away, you'll see that's what I've created.
So
I'm going
why do you use Mark? So Mark is creating a straight line design. Is that what it's doing?
Yeah, I mean, the difference between Mark and record is that with record, you can create circles and things like that. With Mark, you're just literally doing point, point, point. If you had loads and loads of points close together, you can make something close to a circle, but you'd have to do a lot of them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate that. So duplicate, and then I'm going to move it. Oops, I'm going to select it and move it. And I'm going to flip it. So if I modify it and I basically flip it and then move it a little bit more down. Kind of making a hexagon where I'm sort of imagining, if I put the grid on, you'll see it better. Well, I'll see it better too, even more to the point. So what I'm trying to do is, if I put it there, so it's on the intersection of that point there, and this one is on the intersection of that one there, and it's up there. It's like a hexagon, but with a gap. That's what I was trying to do.
Okay.
So we can save these as two separate designs. So this one, I'd save the top one. So let's save the selected one. So this is hex bottom. It'll all become clear, or maybe not. Hex bottom. There we go. I can do got hex top and hex bottom. So now I'm going to do File, Clear All, and we're going to basically set up a line of the hexes that's going to stitch along, and then I'm going to do the second line, which is the one at the bottom. So to set it up, I need to set up a frame space. So I'm going to go to area, and I'm going to set up frame space is the available space that the machine has to work in, has available to work in. And it's shown on here with a large rectangle. Can you see that? Is this working okay on the Facebook? Okay. So this large rectangle represents the maximum area that I have available for stitching. I'm actually just going to do a bit over here. And then I say, okay, well, I want my quilt to just, or my designs just be in this area here. So I set up a 2-point area, 2 corner. And let's go as far as, let's go to there. 2 corner. And that comes up as a pink box. And I might make the height a lot more. In which case, I'll just keep stitching it. So if you look at the home key now, there's my rectangle. I can stitch within this area here, and then I can keep on going. That's my area. Does that make sense? A bit easier to see without the grid. Yeah?
Yep.
Okay. And now I'm going to get my design. So let's get the design. I'll get the hex, and I will go into repeat, which is where we set up edge to edge designs. And I'm going to basically increase the number of repeats. And it just joins them together, just kind of concatenates them, which is pretty cool. I can get it to stretch so it'll actually fit in there instead of being strung out. And I could have resized it separately. So whatever I want to do in terms of setup, I'm just going to zoom in a bit so you can see it a bit closer. In terms of setup of this design, I can change the size. I can even move it around a bit and put it exactly where I want it to be. I can repeat this if I wish to. I could repeat it and just have loads of those if I wanted to. But actually I don't want to do that. I'm going to do undo, undo. And I'm going to put my other hex underneath it. So let's load the other hex. So design, hex bottom. And I'm going to repeat that 3 times. Oh, I'm in the vertical. Go back, in the horizontal, and I'm going to stretch that. And then I'm going to move that up there, except I'll move the area. Let's zoom in. I'm going to select, so I'm just going to pick up that first one. And put it, so it goes across the top. Yeah, that'll work. And the second one. And then I can actually save these 2. Where do I want it? Should I have it just closer? Mm-hmm. I think it looks a bit better closer.
Yeah. I'm
just illustrating the principle. The actual design, obviously my idea of a hexagon isn't actually like the geometry version that Miss Meakin taught us at school. But aside from that, it's fine. Now I could join these together if I wanted and actually have it so that these 2 are a single design. So to do that, if I just go baseline as we are. So baseline is like freezing the modifications that we've done so far. If I want to select one after another, I just hit this button down here, selects that, and then the second line it'll do is this. I can now save those 2 as a separate design. Let's call that it's called Merge Group 2, which isn't so useful, but I might call it Merged Hex. And there we go. So now I can go to ProStitcher and I can go in, I can go to repeat, and now I can repeat these vertically until I've got as many as I want. It kind of looks hexagonal now, a bit more hexagonal. That makes sense? Okay,
so this
take the grid off, a bit easier to see.
This is the sort of designs that the business yesterday was looking to do on quilted jackets and things.
Yeah, it's exactly what they were looking to do. And I showed, you don't need to do this on a digitising package. They wanted it to look a bit like, it's like a fence, isn't it? Like a fence when it's joined together. That looks a bit like a fence. That's the sort of thing. Because these sort of geometric designs. I think for kind of things like they're doing like the sci-fi stuff, they want these sort of geometric designs. It kind of looks ageless, timeless, whatever. So I guess that's what it is. I'm just imagining. So now we're going to baseline that and save it. I'll just add a few more repeats just to give you the idea of how you can fill in the whole lot. Stretch it on the horizontal, on the vertical rather, and I'm going to baseline, which again freezes those modifications, and then we're going to save it. Save selected as the quilt. So I'll call that hex. Hex quilt. It says repeat. I'll just call it repeat hex quilt. What's good is I can send them this. It's quite handy. Right, so there we go. There's our little quilt we've set up. Let's stitch it out. We're going to go to the ProStitcher tab, and we go to the quilt option within the ribbon. We want it to stitch, do starting and ending tie-offs, and pull up at the beginning. We'll check our settings here. It's doing 10 stitches per inch. It's going to go at 50% of the maximum speed, and it's got 5 tie-offs at the beginning, etc. So let's pull up our bobbin thread. At the end of the line, it does some tie-offs, and it stops for us to cut the thread. It's got a long jump pause. So it unlocks the motors, basically lets us trim the thread. Oops, I've got a fat finger today. And I'm going to pull that up, pull that bobbin thread up. So we've been doing some zoom on our ProStitcher Premium Lite and on ProStitcher Designer. With Susan Manry, who's a handy quilter educator, in the evenings this last few months. We started in October, and my goodness, you learn a lot. There's a lot of discussion about things, not just about ProStitcher, but also setting up for quilting to get your best results.
It's a very quiet machine, the Moxie XL, isn't it?
It's good. This would be good. I mean, this kind of geometric design is really good for boys' quilts. You know, it's not loads of feathers and flowers and all that kind of stuff. Just nice and simple. And look, how long did it take to set it up? It wasn't long, was it? You know, literally. And I, just making it up as I go along, really. Yeah, it's been useful thinking about how, like I say, how to do things in different ways. And when someone's got a deadline, what's the quickest way for them to do it? Possibly not to learn a new piece of software at this stage. So I'm just going to move it down. I can see visually, this is quite useful here, because if I just zoom in, you'll see this visual reference of the quilting space enables me to see that I will be able to do that next. Yeah. So I'm just going to press resume, and it'll make its way over to the start of the next line.
So let's say a few more hellos whilst that's stitching the next line. So Glenys Davis, it's freezing in Deal, which is quite probably unusual down in Kent. Isabel, up in Scotland now.
Yes.
Formerly of Spain.
Spain, yes.
Carolyn Clark, sorry I'm late, I'm loading a quilt. Well, and we were late because we were eating cake, Carolyn.
That cake. Oh my goodness. So we haven't posted it yet on Facebook, have we? We're going to do that after this. But we were delighted to receive a parcel today from the lovely Carolyn, who has an Amara 24 with ProStitcher. And Carolyn very kindly has sent us the most amazing cake, which is made up of 14 different cakes, a slice of each. So basically, we're going to be on the exercise bike on a regular basis for the next few hours, aren't we, Pete? Straight after this, we're hopping on the exercise bike to use up all the calories of the cake. It was lovely.
Just what we needed after Christmas, but yeah. You can never go wrong with cake.
You can never go wrong with cake. And some of you will know that Pete's nickname, his granddaughter named him Papa Cake.
Don't know why.
There's a good reason for that.
No idea why. So, hello to Robbie and Claire Shortland.
Ah, Robbie, yes, and Claire. Hey, guys.
Julia Hewitt.
And Julia with the lovely dog.
Sunny Northumberland, just back from a lovely beach walk with Briar.
That would be beautiful.
And Georgie says, great classes with Susan and love the honeycomb effect.
Yeah, isn't that cool?
And Jennifer East, one of our newer Amara's customers.
Yeah.
Hello from a very cold Wrexham. It was quite cold when I installed your machine, Jennifer, but I think today is colder. Definitely. Yeah, it's beginning to look good.
It is, isn't it?
This design.
It is like fence. I think this might be useful to them.
I think it's a great design.
Yeah. Get me. That's so funny. Right. So we could move it on. And I'll show you how we do that. So it's it's a question a lot of people ask is like, how does it know where it is? How do I move it on? You know.
Yes, let's cover that, Liz. I think that's a great great thing to demonstrate here.
Exactly. Now we most of the time we will find somewhere in the middle of our quilt. We'll drop our needle down in that point. We're not quite on that point. Let's get it a bit more precise. There we go. So this is called the drag and drop method, and as long as you set it all up okay and you press baseline and all that kind of stuff, we can do what's called drag and drop. Now drag and drop, what we're doing by putting the needle in and pressing drag is we are effectively attaching or locating the needle on that point of the design, which is exactly at the bottom of one of the hexes, to the tablet. So the quilt, the physical quilt and the tablet are sort of connected. It knows where it is on the quilt. And now we're going to release the backing fabric, any side clamps if we had them on. I didn't put them on actually. And what you should see.
So the quilt's moving on here, and as it does so, the design is moving up in the frame space. And the needle knows that it's still at that position.
So cool.
It's as easy as that.
It's the best. And then we just make sure we do any faffing, tensioning. I will put some sideways tension. You should actually use sideways tension on this. If you didn't have a Velcro issue. You seem to have a Velcro issue here. It seems to be attached to everything. Sort of okay. And over here is on a little elastic one. We've got a little mix of side tension here. Not sure what's going on with that. Someone seems to be played with. Look, how many side grips do you need? 3, apparently. Sometimes it's a mystery. It's just a mystery. Here we go. Right. Oh, that one's come off now. Right, we're not putting that one on. No. Never mind. So now we're back to this. We're going to do, it's changed, you see. It started off as drag, it went green and changed to the words drop. So I'm happy. Nothing's caught up, the needle's not caught up. Just tension slightly more. Don't want it too tight, shouldn't be like a trampoline, but enough that it's going to be consistent. And then we press drop. Then we take the needle up, very important. And then we check, just a little zoom in, we just check that things are lined up. I didn't quite get my hexagons lined up. Actually, it doesn't look too bad. And that is lined up with that row, and that one is lined up. We go over here, just move the slider, and that's lined up with there. Very good. So now I'm ready to start my next row. I just press resume. I move to the next row, takes a stitch, I pull up the thread and press resume. I think I might sell that design. Hey, voila. That's it. That's how you do drag and drop. Some people have done other methods of doing it, but I always teach that as a first step. Some people find it nice and they're happy with it. Other people go on and find a different method and they're happy with that. So you just have to try what works for you. I just teach that because that is kind of like the handy quilter way they designed it.
Yeah, and I like that too because to me it's very logical. So it's easy to understand, I think.
Yes. There are other ways of doing it, and you can do reposition start point, and that's fine. And you can actually do it so you only ever have two rows, and each time you reposition it. I've even seen it where people have a way of doing it where they do modify, and they do a I'm just going to cancel this now. They do modify, and they do reposition, and they change the nudge distance to the gap between the rows, which is a really interesting way of doing it, but I don't want to confuse everybody, but there we go. That's how to design on ProStitcher Lite using Mark, create your own design. Very cool. You might be able to see it on the next blockbuster movie. You never know. And honestly, that would be so cool if you'd seen it here first, and then you see it on the screen. Who knows?
You might wish to give them the design in return for making sure that your name gets on the credits.
Credits. Because, I have been on TV from time to time. Okay, any questions on that? No. As featured on lots of things. Right. I haven't got anything else I can think of, but I think hopefully we've covered quite a lot. And if you've been tempted by, going to a computerized system, I would really recommend it. And I think there are definitely people who would kind of go, I'll never use computerized. But as Georgie has proved, never say never, Georgie. And you never know. So it's a surprise to some of us that we end up loving computerized systems. But it gives us something, and it gives us something else, and maybe just another technique in the armory. Sometimes we want to do ruler work, and sometimes we want to do free motion quilting, and sometimes we want to do computerized, and sometimes we just want to use a laser light and trace it from the back. And all of these things are available to you as ways that you can do your quilting or your costume design. So with that in mind, just a couple of notices. We've got some Zoom talks coming up. If you've thought about entering in a quilt show, maybe you've never entered in a quilt show, and this year is your year, and you've put it on your New Year's resolution to enter a quilt show, then why not join us for Vendulka's talk? Vendulka Bate, she won with her husband joint prize, Best in Show at the Festival of Quilts a few years ago. And she has also won with a beautiful quilted jacket at the Mancuso World Quilt Show. She's won many other awards as well since. So, Vendulka comes with bags of experience of entering quilt shows, but also she's now a quilt judge. And so she provides, really interesting insight into both points of view. So join us for that if you would like to. It's on Zoom. You can book it on our handyquilter.co.uk website. After that, the week after that, these are both on a Monday. Von Dulker's at 6 p.m. and Jo Avery is talking at 7 p.m. last Monday of the month. And Jo will be talking about her history in terms of her quilting, how she got into quilting, and some of the beautiful quilts that she's made over the years. Some of her inspiration. I mean, one of the things that really strikes me about Jo is her use of colour. It's absolutely fabulous. Her quilts make you happy. Well, they make me happy. I hope they make you happy too. And if you'd like to hear more about that, it's on Zoom, and Jo's got a fantastic presentation she put together, and it would be really lovely if you could join us for that, for a bit of quilt inspo. I'm in the process, I haven't even discussed these with Pete yet, but I'm in the process of talking to various people about more Zoom talks coming up, and we'll let you know about those. You can watch from the comfort of your armchair. Haven't even got to get out in the freezing cold. So there's a bonus, particularly this time of year.
So yes, Van Dolker's talk is on Monday the 20th of January at 6 p.m. and Jo's on Monday the 27th of January.
Book online. We've also got, for those of you who might be watching this but perhaps are not yet a handy quilter owner, our Try Before You Buy is in February. Pete, would you be able to remind me of the date of that? We've got some spaces left. It's not full at the moment, but we'd love it if you could join us. It's 4 hours. It's a great 4 hours, time well spent, because you learn from others as well. And you'll be able to play on one of the machines. We'll mix you around, move you around. You'll try all different kind of techniques. It includes a little bit of lunch as well. So we like to make you feel as welcome as possible. But it's just a great opportunity to meet others who are also looking at machines. And sometimes people ask great questions and you think, oh, I hadn't thought about that. That's a really good question. And, you know, that helps you make a more informed decision when it comes to purchasing a long arm, which is a considered purchase.
And that event, Try Before You Buy, is on Saturday the 22nd of February.
Yeah, Saturday the 22nd of February. Our foundation workshop and Rudis and Phil's workshop is coming up as well at the end of February, and we're looking forward to seeing our long arm customers who purchased a handy quilter at that event. And we'll tell you more about the kind of things that I've demoed today: setting your bobbin tension, getting your top tension right, that sort of thing, doing test stitching. But we're going into more detail. We'll explain how the stitch is formed and a bit more about threads. And Carolyn and I, we teach that together. Carolyn James, she's over in near Bungay, well, sort of near Diss, isn't it? Norfolk, Suffolk. She's Norfolk.
Suffolk.
Suffolk. Very close. And Carolyn's lots of fun. We can't help but have a good time when Carolyn comes over. There we go. I think that's my lot. I think I've talked enough. Now, we probably aren't here next Friday.
Well, we're not here, but
No.
if we can, we may be able to do a Zoom live from customer premises next Friday.
A Facebook Live, yeah?
Sorry, Facebook Live, yes.
Yeah, we'll take these things.
Yes. So we're up installing a second Amara for a customer in Newcastle upon Tyne next Friday.
Absolutely.
But I think because she's already a very experienced customer, we won't need to do the same degree of training, clearly.
Actually, that would be lovely, wouldn't it? Because Jane has got a beautiful premises from which she does quilting for others. So if we can do it from there, I think that would be really, really cool. I love her place. I could just hang out there. It's so nice.
So we're on a bit of a tour, aren't we, next week?
We are. We're on a Northern and Scotland tour. Oh, how did they go? Can't help it. A shocker, aren't I? Oh dear, I have got Scots in my background. It's just, I was listening to a brilliant podcast about, it was poems, Scottish poems on the radio when I was travelling around the country the other day, talking about Scots as a language. Oh my word. It was poetry read by a Scots guy. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And there's so many similarities, obviously, with English words. Obviously, there's a crossover, but so many words that aren't the same, and they are so poetic. It's just beautiful. I was entranced.
Well,
by
we're coming up to Burns Night, aren't we? A couple of weeks away.
We are. I saw there's actually a site, and there's a Burns Night supper.
Is there?
Yeah, over by the Wheelbarrow Castle, over towards Radford.
Haggis for all.
Yes, and we'll do the Robbie Burns thing. That's how you say it, isn't it? Robbie Burns. I don't know. Gosh, I hope nobody's offended by my appalling accents. So, on that note, before I get into any more trouble and Pete sort of dies of laughter behind the camera, I will say, have a very lovely weekend. And we will see you, hopefully, next week from a studio somewhere in the northeast of England. All right, have a great time. Stay warm. Get under a quilt. Bye. This is like Acorn Antiques.
There's a notification that's coming up to tell me that it's a slow connection, but because the notification's come up, I can't press the stop button. Now I can. Bye-bye.
Bye.